There's quite a few ways you can go about editing data within a cell. Like for example, in the upper left-hand corner, we've got in cell A1, camping gear-US. You can see that it's bleeding over into cell B1. It's not actually in it, it's just because there's nothing there. So if I go into B1 and type in something like the number 0, hit enter, it gets cut off. Let me go ahead and hit undo. Or better yet, if you go ahead and select the cell, up in the formula bar, it displays the entire contents of the cell. When you go into cell B1, there's nothing in there. So if you want to edit a cell, there's a couple ways you can go about doing it. You can either double click to get the cursor flashing in the cell, in which case you can go ahead and select part of it and update it. And then when you're done, you can either hit enter on the keyboard and it'll advance to the next row down below, or you can come up here and click on enter and it stays within the same cell. Or if it works for you and you don't want to double click to edit within the cell, you can also come up here in the formula bar. Let me hit enter. With the cell selected, just come up here and make your changes and go ahead and change it back to US. Also, a shortcut for overwriting a word is to go ahead and double click on it. It selects the entire word and then you can type in whatever else you want to replace it. Sleeping gear. And if you don't want to accept your changes because you made a mistake, then you can just go ahead and hit the escape key or just click on the X to cancel those changes and we're back to where we started. And then when it comes to deleting a cell or range of cells, you can go ahead and click and drag to select your range and hit the delete key on the keyboard. I'm going to go ahead and undo that. Or another option is that up here on the Home tab to the editing group is that you get that little eraser, clear, click on the drop down arrow and you get quite a few options. You can clear out everything, just nuke the cell. Or as you can see, the other options are to clear formats, keep the contents but just not the formatting, like, well, here we go, B for bold. Come up here, click on the drop down arrow and say clear the formats. Then we got something very skinny and it's not bold. That's horrifying. Let's hit undo and make it bold. And then the others, clear the contents, clear comments, or clear hyperlinks. And then finally, I want to show you how you can insert a symbol, like if you want to trademark or register something like camping gear, double click to get inside the cell, or you can come up here in the formula bar and just click after camping gear. And then to insert a symbol, come up here, click on the Insert tab, go over to the symbols, click on the drop down arrow, and select symbol. And then you've got your register right there, so you can go ahead and select it, or go with trademark and click on Insert, and there you can see it's right there. In addition, you got all these other ones that I've recently used, or you can click on the drop down arrow, and you can get some kooky ones by selecting different types of fonts for their symbols, or go down to wingdings and you got different caricatures here, a happy face or a straight face. You also have special characters if you want to take a look at that, not do a huge search, especially when it comes to maybe things like copyright or registered, or there's the trademark again. You can go ahead and click on insert and we get the 2 TMs. We just need one, close out, and then you can either click in front of it and hit the backspace key, or be behind it and hit the delete key and it deletes what's in front of the cursor as opposed to what's behind it with the backspace key. And then to accept it, hit enter, we're good. Another way to edit your data, like if somebody's reading a bunch of numbers back to you, and let's say it's just for this range here, January through April, because we have updates and these aren't the real numbers, you can go ahead and select the range and notice that the first cell in the range is in white. That's the active cell. So I can move within the range by hitting either the enter key, and it moves it down row by row in the same column until it gets to the end, and then it goes to the next column row by row. Or you can advance column by column by hitting the tab key, or going back column by column by holding down the shift key and hitting tab at the same time. So let's go ahead and reselect this so I don't have to do shift tab to get all the way back to the beginning of the cell. So in the active cell, when I type in a number and hit enter, it goes down to the next row in the same column. So somebody can read the numbers off to me and I can just go ahead and type in those numbers. And when I get to the end, I don't have to go ahead and move my mouse to click in the next cell. For the month of February, up at the top, it just automatically advances for me. Or if they're reading again from January to February for this employee ID, then I go ahead and shift tab to go back to that, and then go ahead and type in my numbers, hit the tab key to advance from month to month. And then when I hit tab, it goes down to the next row and continue on going from one column to the next. And then if I made a mistake, hold down the shift key to tab backwards, and then make your change, and then continue on. Hey, thanks for watching. If you like my video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you subscribe to my YouTube channel, as soon as I upload a new video, you'll be notified instantly, and you can do that by coming over here and clicking on my face. You can also click here to support me, so for $2 a month, you can have access to over 2,700 training videos, all ad-free, and for a few bucks more, you can have access to my exercises, instructor notes, quizzes, certificate of completion, and a whole lot more.